They're yelling, "Go home," and I am home. I live right over there.
What country do you stand for? Go home! Why are they're
Do you guys,
against these
have any relatives that are over there right now?
Yeah, one that's going.
people?
One that's going.
We fired
Just
first.
supporting Hussein.
What are you trying to say with that?
That's the only hope
We
he's
blew
got
up
is
our
you
own
people here.
buildings.
We
Oh,
dropped
that's
them
right.
planes
Mass
on our
murder. It's the only hope he's
You're
got.
right.
Don't you remember that? The
You're right.
Pentagon? Goddamn.
Oh yeah, and we're the ones that are
the twin-
killing.
the-
We're the ones that are killing the POWs that we get.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
us.
That's
Yeah.
right. Slaughtering them.
We're
Yeah,
holding
we're
them.
the ones
We're
that-
holding our own Americans hostage so we can kill them
Yeah.
on TV.
Yeah.
Just wait. Let me think about it.
We slaughter them. Oh yeah, and then we put them in shallow graves for our troops to find. Oh,
Really?
we're the ones doing that. No, I'm sorry. We're the ones that take them. We put them. We feed them better than they've ever been fed in their life.
Buddy, what are you thinking?
And hey, but we're rooting for him.
Us veterans in Mondovi believe these anti-war protesters should go home because they're prolonging the war
The Hitler of our
by showing
time.
support for Saddam Hussein, who is the Hitler of our times. He is forcing his people at gunpoint to fight for him, and if they try to flee the cities,
You're staying with us?
the people are
Good.
threatened with being
you kidding?
gassed and killed in
I'm
mass like he did
drafted.
10 years ago. He killed
1966.
up to 100,000 people for leaving
What do you
his
think I got
country.
this uniform on for?
He's a proven mass murderer.
Are you a veteran?
Why don't you go back to Eau Claire with it?
Sweet.
Get that fucking camera off me, otherwise I'm gonna break it.
Hi. I'm very windswept right now. He was saying he comes from a town of about 15,000 and they have 2 protests a week and nobody does anything but kind of shake their head. And it's amazing that in this town guys will come out here and stand out in the cold, you know, shouting at us for hours, you know, and that's why we did it. There are only about 2 high school students from Mondovi here. There are about 5 of my friends who I graduated with here. And we had a few more high school students that said they were going to show up and didn't. But, you know, what can you expect from a small town? You know, and we had a couple faculty members that said that they really wanted to be here and couldn't. And we had a couple that said they would be here, but at the last minute, you know, they decided it wasn't a good idea. Because in small towns, you have to be apolitical, no matter what. Because there are going to be repercussions in this town, you know, for me, and I'm not a role model for this town. So, well, I guess I am now, but, you know, I'm not legally. And actually, the reason why Michael and I wanted to get active about this was the night, actually, 2 hours before we started bombing Iraq. I hung a banner outside of my front windows that said, "No blood for oil." And one of the men actually over there is a Vietnam veteran, and he came in very rattled and told me that I didn't know what was going on in this country and I needed to take it down because my landlord wouldn't approve of it. Called my landlord and he said I could hang it out back with a disclaimer. I just couldn't hang it in front of where it says Malum's Pharmacy because I live above the place I work. And I moved it out back, and 15 minutes later he called me and said I had to take it down. And I told him I was willing to move it behind my windows, but I wasn't prepared to take it down. And he said that basically he would kick me out and that customers coming in and complaining wasn't good for my job either. And so I decided that if, you know, six veterans that called my boss and my landlord could shut me up, that it was time to show everybody that there's not just one person in this town that cares about peace, that doesn't want this war to be here, and that's why we're doing it. But I took it down simply because there are two people right now that hold immense power over my life, and I feel really guilty for crumbling. Hated, to set the precedent, for freedom of speech for people who are renting, But right now, I just want to get other people to speak.
On April 21st, 2003, I telephoned Jenny Klotz's landlord, Jim Kleingartner, and offered him the opportunity to give his side.
My name is Bill Olson, and I'm an independent.
He said he was tired of the whole issue and did not want to get into it. In a letter to the Mondovi Herald News, Mr. Kleingartner wrote, "I did not threaten eviction, as she had reported to the AP journalist."
And that kind of, I don't know how good that was for him to say that, because I think it would be fairly obvious to a lot of people that I wouldn't have taken it down if that threat hadn't been there. I wouldn't have gone, oh no, I'm offending people, oh, I'm controversial, well, I'll take it down. I'm not that kind of person. I'm the kind of person that goes, okay, it's my right. Until you're going to threaten me with something that you can actually do, I'm not going to, take it down. So he went on record saying, I never threatened to kick her out. So I wanted to hang something back up, fine, if you're not going to kick me out, But he sent me a letter, the second week in April, the day I got my first piece of hate mail, saying that as of May 31st, we have to terminate our residency there. And I called him and I said, a week ago you wanted a new lease. What changed, And he said it was because there are fire code violations in our building. And even though he said he was going to make it, so we could live there until the end of the summer and whatever, he all of a sudden decided that he didn't want to fix it. And, we're in a situation where the apartment that I'm living in, the furnace is illegal. It's bad. Can't be there. But in the other apartment, furnace is fine. But we still can't stay there and live in that one apartment. He wants us out. And the unfortunate thing is that, I've been told by a couple different lawyers that even if he were to say, oh, you're being kicked out because you hung an anti-war banner up and I don't like that, basically the legal precedent has been set in this state that private individuals cannot be accused of violating your freedom of speech rights. That it's only a case that can be brought against the government, which I think is horrible, and I think it's wrong, and I think it needs to be changed, simply because, I was told that he could come into my job and say, okay, you know what? You're against this war, I don't like you, you're fired, and it would be basically okay, unless I found a lawyer that was willing to fight and fight and fight to the state Supreme Court and possibly beyond. The drunks kind of wandered out of the bar and decided to hang out on what we now call the angry corner.
Flip off the camera.
Where are you from, or what the hell are you doing here?
Why are you flipping the camera?
I'm just letting you and everyone else give their view for TV.
Wow.
I think you have the right to give your viewpoint too.
Wow.
In fact,
So you for this? You against this?
I'm for the right to protest.
Wow. So you don't say shit. Basically, you just run the camera and say, "Here, I'll follow these stupid bastards around," and say, "Hey, just wait. Look at this. There's a sign. There's a sign, and the rest of us are shit."
The first guy who brought the American flag, I let him talk on here, and I'm not going to edit him.
Okay, so you're not either way?
I'm not either way.
Oops, that's not quite true, but I was afraid of getting beat up. Intimidating people will not solve disagreements, only hide them temporarily.
Okay, I apologize for flipping you off.
Oh, well, thank you.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Here.
I'm sorry. I apologize for flipping you off.
Several times a week, I see a bumper sticker, or I hear a comment, or I see a t-shirt that I just totally disagree with. Something sexist, racist, whatever. Something that just makes me go, that person is so, it's an ignorant little weirdo, you know? I see things and I'm just angered by them, offended by them and such, but I don't get in other people's faces and go, you know, your opinion is wrong, you're a racist, you're a bad person, I'm going to make it so you can't wear that shirt.
Hey, do the world a favor and burn that sweatshirt you got. Anti-flag, burn the shirt.
Sweet, I'll take the hat. I could make an ass out of myself every now and then. Oh, is that on film?
Yeah.
Shit!
I just kind of go, well, that's horrible, and leave it be, because it's not anything I need to get involved in. It's their right to be as ignorant as they want to be, whatever. But, you know, here I am, and here we all were saying, you know, this war is not what we want. It's okay for us to say no. You know, all these just relatively positive things that you can't really argue with. And people were so quick to pounce.
But just wait, we got the professional, I mean the pro on everything.
See, now, if you like America and you stand up for what's right, I am a military member, all right? I haven't said any of this.
Exactly, because you got freedom of speech, but you can't talk. I can't figure that out.
Freedom of speech, but you feel the need to hold up a sign.
It's another minute, the war's lasting longer.
And there's a huge lack of common courtesy in this country. And my town and just everywhere. Just a lack of common courtesy. The golden rule is being just kind of swept under the rug because we're at war.
Hey, Scruff Boy, you need $1 to buy a razor?
I can't take that deep.
Hey, unibrow.
Really?
Oh, no.
He can't grow facial hair correctly.
Stay on this side, man.
Look how young you are. You don't need to call people on their physical differences. What's wrong with that?
Unibrow someday too.
What's wrong with the way people look, man? Easy.
Don't slur.
It's freedom of speech. He can say whatever the hell he wants.
Make a bitch go die! Right there! Right, keep walking. Keep walking.
One woman was shoved. A guy grabbed a friend of mine, you know, by the arm because she wasn't, you know, talking to him, and she just said, you know, just don't touch me. You know, there were a couple little physical incidents, not like, you know, punches being thrown, but my boyfriend, you know, he was holding a sign that no one could really argue with, as he said, you know, violence is not the answer, and he's sitting there holding this sign, and there's this guy saying, you know, come on, take a swing. You know, for like 5 minutes, he wouldn't leave him alone. I mean, they wanted something to happen.
Go home and pray instead of doing this. Pray for peace.
I almost went over there because I didn't know if he was going to get in your face, you know?
Yeah, she's pushing me. She didn't agree with me. I went over there and asked her.
Make this the right way.
I went over there and asked her if when she goes over there to talk to those people, if she could ask them to please be respectful of us as citizens, just as her own, you know, community members. And she said, oh, just go home, go away. And then she shoved me, and I said, I just don't think it's right for you to be swearing in front of children and pushing people around. I mean, these men are obviously drunk. And she just said, go home, and she shoved me again. And so I backed off, obviously.
No, and I love this country. I'm glad I'm here. It could be a lot worse, but right now, you know, I don't agree with the people who are in control. It doesn't mean I hate this country. It doesn't mean I'd rather be somewhere else. I mean, in the hate mail, they're saying, you know, if she doesn't like the good old USA, why doesn't she leave? You know, if you don't like this country, you don't just leave. You sit there and you wait it out and you do what you can to affect it. You do what you can to help positive change. It's not anti-American. I'm not a Hitler lover. I'm not a communist. I'm an American who's kind of mad at what our country has become, and I'm not going to shut my mouth. You know? How un-American is that? That's what our country was built on. Our country was built on a lot of pissed off people deciding that they were not going to be trampled anymore.
How do you feel in your town right now? Is it still home the way it used to be?
Oh yeah, it's still home. At the same time, though, like, it's not always been a good town for crossing the street as it is. But people like to ignore crosswalks. And so now, you know, I wonder. I sometimes wonder, I mean, I know it's just paranoia. I don't think anybody would really take it that far. But, you know, you don't know.
Stand in front of that car. We'll wait till a big old rig comes rolling through 18-wheeler. Stand on front of that. See what they say about your big old protest.
Like, I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but the guy who banned me from his pizza joint always used to talk to me before. He always used to be nice. I mean, my roommates and I kind of babysat his dog for like a day or two, you know, and now all of a sudden I'm the enemy, you know? And it's just, it's sad to me that now, like, a woman, I believe it was the one who actually shoved that girl, has another business downtown that I used to frequent, and now I don't feel comfortable going in there. You know, I don't want to make a scene. You know, I don't want to go in there and have someone go, you know, get out, get out, get out. You know, it's kind of sad. So I'm mourning little bits of, you know, how I used to feel about the place, but at the same time, I've been there longer than, you know, than some people there. It is my hometown, you know? So, I did it to myself, I suppose. It's kind of unfortunate that I have to refer to the whole thing as something I did to myself, but, you know, I mean, just, I'm getting kicked out of my house, you know? Just for this. And it's kind of surreal that something so little, I mean, all I did was hang up a sign and stand on a corner. That's it. You know, and now my whole life is different. You know, it's all I talk about lately, which seems really strange to me. It's, you know, war this, war that, oh, you know, though this happened, that happened. It's what I talk about. You know, it's hard to get out from under it right now. It's hard to forget that I have to leave because I did this. And my boyfriend, you know, God bless him, you know, he was out there holding a sign and everything, but now, you know, he's just kind of frustrated with the whole situation because we're getting kicked out of our house because of something I did. Not something that he did, but something that I did. And I feel really guilty about that sometimes, you know. But if you're going to stand up, you have to take the consequences. And I'm not one to back down. So, which is unfortunately what I kind of have to do. Can I have a tissue?
Yes.
The worst thing that you can ever do is to deny who you are. And if you have a belief, you don't necessarily have to hang, you know, a 4-foot banner outside of your windows and get involved in a fiasco, but if you don't voice your opinions, you're denying who you are. And you have every right to stand up for what you believe in. And it's hard. You know, it's not always easy. You're not always going to get 15 people who go, hey, yeah, you're right. You might get 30 that go, okay, you know what, stand there while we take swings. But you owe it to yourself. And you owe it to other people. You know, to say it. to get it out there. You know, if you don't agree with something, the only way you're ever going to get it to change is to be vocal. You know, just so other people realize that they can think that way too. And it seems stupid that people would need to be pointed out like, hey, it's okay that you don't think the war is right, but people sometimes do. I think a lot of these people who are just so ready to hate me, if they would talk to me, they would be able to at least go, okay, I don't agree with you, but you know, you're an okay person. Because it is a small town, and I see almost everybody who lives there, you know, on a weekly basis, because, you know, everybody needs one thing or another. And, you know, I talk to them all. And since this whole thing, I mean, even the guy who came in who complained about the banner the first time has come in, gotten prescriptions, been fine, smiled at me, said, you know, thanks, have a good day. Everyone is fine because they, you know, people who know me are okay with it. They're just like, oh, it's Jenny, haha, you know, I mean, what do they expect from me, you know? But it's just, I wish these people wouldn't be so quick to judge people who were there or people who are different. You know, I wish they would talk